Rockport, Texas, 78382. I call this regular meeting to order. Please stand and join me in the invocation.
Please join me as I pray. Father, as always, we're thankful for the blessings of this new day and the privilege of just living in this great country, state, and community. And Father, we pause in this meeting right now to acknowledge who's actually in control of what's going to be said and done today. In order for that to take place, Lord, you have to preside in this meeting and over our hearts and over the guard at our lips. And Lord, we know that there's a lot of challenges we have before this county, but I know that you're a God of challenges, and you've parted the Red Sea, and you've torn down the walls of Jericho, and you defeated massive armies. So this is no small challenge for you. So we just pray that you present your solution to all of these challenges that are before this county, so that in the end result, all the citizens of this county will be benefit. We pray that you be with these commissioners and give them the wisdom to make good decisions. For it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me with the pledges.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. All right, roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Here.
Commissioner Casterline.
Here.
Commissioner Russo. Here. Commissioner Dupnick.
Here.
Judge Gatto.
Here. We've got a full court. Glad to have Jack back.
Thank you.
All
Glad to be
right.
back.
Good. I will head into citizens to be heard. First up, Jack Wright. Or do you want to wait till the amendment? Okay. Okay. Jerry, do you want to speak now or wait till the?
Jerry Brundred, 409 South Pearl, Rockport, and I'm a county surveyor. I want to speak in favor of 9 and 10 items on the agenda. I'm totally on board with that. I think it's a good thing to do for our community, both for the NAV district and the county and the city. But the only thing I would like to get on the record here this morning is to make myself available with the research that I've done, not only for the water quality in the harbor and cause and effects of pollution in the harbor, but also with documentation of the floods we've had and photography and just basically going on 77 years of knowledge firsthand during floods that I've seen it go underwater. And that's a passion. The downtown flooding situation is a passion for me. It's not just a passing thought. And before I die, I'm getting sort of old and crotchety, but before I die, I would like to see us be able to give those downtown merchants a little bit more assurance that every time we have a heavy rain, they're not going to flood. So I wanted to go on the record, making myself available to Hoff and Associates. You know, any information they need, I'm willing to help them do that, because I serve the community, and that's the Lord and the community. That's who I serve. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Jerry.
And Judy, do you want to wait till the?
I will wait.
Okay. All right. We'll hold off on those. Item number 1, I'm going to go ahead and hold that off until those representatives either make it or not. Item number 2.
Move to approve order Move to approve resolution R-22-2025, a resolution requesting that the state of Texas and the federal government take immediate action to combat the spread of an invasive insect known as the New World screwworm.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Would you like to read the resolution or?
You want me to read the resolution?
Yes.
Yes. A resolution of Aransas County Commissioners Court in the state of Texas supporting immediate federal action to combat the threat of the New World screwworm fly to livestock, wildlife, and the rural economy. Whereas the New World screwworm fly poses an imminent and severe threat to the livestock, wildlife, and economic stability of Texas, with projections indicating its arrival in Texas by July 2025 and its movement to the Canadian border by the end of the summer. Whereas the Texas Farm Bureau reports that agriculture contributes nearly $868 billion to the Texas economy, with over 12.2 million cattle, 655,000 sheep, and 786,000 goats, making Texas the leading state in livestock production. Whereas Texas is home to a vast wildlife population, including over 5 million white-tailed deer, 150,000 mule deer, and numerous exotic and endangered species such as the scimitar oryx, Addax antelope, Dama gazelle, and rhinoceros, which are critical to both conservation and the rural economy. Whereas rural economies rely heavily on hunting and wildlife management, generating over 4.6 billion annually from deer hunting alone, supporting 24,000 jobs and adding $446 million in tax revenue. Whereas the spread of the New World screwworm fly threatens not only animal health, but also land value, rural employment, and decades of conservation success, potentially resulting in hundreds of billions of dollars in economic loss. Whereas current treatment options are severely limited, with the sterile insect technique unavailable due to insufficient capacity at the USDA's Panama facility, leaving macrocyclic lactones such as ivermectin, doramectin, aprinomectin, abamectin, and selamectin as the only viable solution. Whereas livestock feed manufacturers in Texas are prepared to incorporate ivermectin premix into livestock and wildlife feed to curb the infestation, but they're unable to currently do so due to lack of FDA and USDA authorization for access to the dry premix used in other government programs. Whereas urgent federal leadership and authorization is required to prevent catastrophic loss to the economy, the environment, and public trust in rural management. Now therefore be it resolved by the Aransas County Commissioners Court of Texas that the Aransas County Commissioners Court urgently calls upon the President of the United States and all state and federal officials to authorize the immediate production and distribution of millions of doses of ivermectin dry premix for use by livestock feed manufacturers, and mobilize and convert existing military or federal facilities to breed sterile New World screwworm flies, ensuring operational readiness within 2 weeks. That this court further urges the FDA and the USDA to expedite emergency approval for feed manufacturers to access and utilize ivermectin dry premix in livestock and wildlife feed across the affected regions, and that a certified copy of this resolution be forwarded to the President of the United States, the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, the FDA Commissioner, and all members of the Texas congressional delegations.
Thank you, and very impressive saying those words. Very impressed.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Gutsa.
Aye, motion passes. Number 3.
Move to approve order O-06-2025, in order to abandon and vacate a 20-foot platted alleyway in block 269, the Manning Addition, Aransas County, Texas.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is a pretty standard petition to abandon. The gentleman who initiated the petition owns property on either side of the block, and abandoning the alleyway would allow him to connect the two properties. There's no violation of state access rules and no violation of the county's regulations. And so staff is recommending approval.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Gutsa.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 4.
discuss and approve the contract for architectural service for the aquarium project with Garza Bomberger and Associates, and authorize the county judge to execute necessary documents.
Second. Okay.
Got a motion and a second. Really exciting.
Very excited.
Very exciting. Another step towards our aquarium. Commissioners have any questions?
Anyone from the NAV district have any comment? We would like to move forward. We've been waiting on the contract and here it is.
Okay, Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
and Judge Garza.
Aye. And yay. Motion passes. Item number 5.
I move to approve authorizing the county judge to sign the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program prepared by the Solco Group as required by the U.S. Department of Transportation under 49 CFR Parts 2, 3, and 2, 6 to qualify the airport for bipartisan infrastructure law, known as BIL, grant funding and designation of the county contracts procurement specialist as the DBE liaison officer.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Good morning.
Mr. Gear.
This has been a long time in the making, since we discovered that we had money made available to us through the BIL grant. And that right now that's a 5-year program, that grant. And over the 5 years, we've accumulated about $1.3 million. For us to go get it, we have to have a DBE program. That's a requirement for all Department of Transportation grants.
What can we use this for now?
Well, I'm going to use it for the fuel farm, but you can use it for just any infrastructure project,
Okay.
just about any infrastructure project. But I'll do it in conjunction with TxDOT Aviation, and I've actually already got it programmed in TxDOT's portal for grant management, so or project management. So that's where we put in the project, and they help us kind of marry it with
So
a funding.
that's gonna help build your fuel farm.
We need to replace it.
Yeah, well,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Yes, sir. And relocate it as well. It's not in a desirable location, and the tanks they've about had it.
Mike,
Yes, sir.
question, the fuel farm is still in disrepair from Hurricane Harvey, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I can show you a picture of it the day before Hurricane Harvey and the day after, and you'd see the difference.
Just a couple of things. One, for those who may not be so familiar, BIL is the bipartisan infrastructure law.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I know it's in here, but we have people in
Mhm.
the audience that may not know. And even though there's been a lot in the news, I know about the president getting rid of DEI, which that's a good thing.
Mhm.
I know the conference that the commissioners and judges had just last week emphasized we still need these programs for some of the grants until Congress makes that official.
Yes, ma'am.
That being said, I just have a couple of questions.
Okay.
Um,
I'd like to add too that Kelvin Solco with the Solco Group is online. And I've invited him to kind of just chime in to correct what I say if I say something wrong, or to answer a more technical question. They built the DBE program we're looking at.
Right. So on page 5, we're talking about the DBE liaison officer. It says that that person has direct independent access to the mayor of Rockport concerning DBE program matters,
Oh, that should be the judge of Aransas County, so we'll have to correct that.
right?
Okay, okay. All right,
Wondered about that.
noted.
I understand from reading the material that the liaison officer may not be in the county judge's chain of command,
Correct.
but I'm surprised that this isn't with the grant administrator, because this involves a grant. I know she has a lot on her plate already, but she is just very good at micromanagement of the details that are involved in grant administration and the paperwork and the follow-up.
We chose the the procurement officer, contract manager, to do this because of the procurement and because it is involved in a lot of the procurement stuff. Noted, they will work together. I mean, everybody in the office works together, so there will be a team on it. But he will be the front.
And the DBE liaison officer is not the grant manager.
No, I
So,
understand.
Yeah, so that the grant is coming down the road with with BIL. Yes, ma'am.
And the administrative reconsideration, who decides which employee is going to serve in that role? Because I noticed that they placed someone from the county attorney's office in that role.
I would assume that commissioners make the ultimate decision. I think basically what you're looking at is a recommendation.
But if we approve this document today, we're approving that selection, are we not?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm curious, how was that decision made?
We had a meeting 6 months ago, I think, or so. Kelvin led the
Yes.
meeting. Had that at the aquarium, and we did post it publicly for everybody to see and then attend if they wanted. And then we just kind of we fleshed it out in there. I don't know exactly how we came to it. I just know that it was discussed and ultimately we agreed that that's how the program would look when we presented it to commissioners after Kelvin was completed the rest of the DBE.
Mike, if I may, if I may address commissioners.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Again, this is Kelvin Soko with the Soko Group. Thank you for having me. So just for the two roles and responsibilities, just really quickly. So the DBE liaison officer is, of course, the primary overseer of all of the women and minority-owned firm activities, progress, et cetera, et cetera. The duties are described in the program itself. The administrative reconsideration officer is simply a second level for a firm to go to in the event that there's an issue that can't get resolved with the DBLO. So the program requires at least 2 representatives from the county to be available to address those small firms when they have an issue. So that's the roles and responsibilities. We actually met and discussed this in length on February the 6th. Your DBE plan, however, is very fluid. I mean, is there need for changes or addendums, or we can always revise or whatever. This is quite common as sometimes attrition or roles change within a particular county over time. So we did ask for, of course, a DBLO for the county and also an administrative reconsideration specialist, just so again that firm would have 2 levels to report to if there's an issue.
That administrative person, you're talking about, what would their duties be?
So in the event of, let's just say, I'll come up with a simple example. So I know this wouldn't happen, but let's say a DBE firm was not paid. They weren't paid on time, for example. What they would do is go to the DBLO and they would ask to try to get that resolved. If they felt like it wasn't resolved to their satisfaction, then a second level person would be a person to go to with that particular issue.
Okay, thank you.
May we approve this document without naming anyone to be the administrative reconsideration person at this
The
time?
FAA has asked that we provide both a DBLO and someone for reconsideration. The choice is yours, of course, on the roles, but again, we considered what I recall is we considered everyone's workload, responsibilities, and that sort of thing. We don't want to make it too cumbersome for anyone.
May I add something?
Please.
With the way that Kelvin has explained that, would you consider the auditor as being the second person if it's
I think
for
would be
that,
very good.
very instance where somebody hasn't gotten paid? That would be the next
I think
step
that
would
would
be to
That was
come.
gonna
be very good.
That's too, my recommendation.
Did you hear
Good.
what
That's a
was suggested?
I heard some of it. I'm sorry.
Okay, Jackie Cockrum, who is the county's auditor, suggested that the auditor might be a better choice for the administrative reconsideration, and I certainly agree with that. If I'd seen a draft of this beforehand, then I would have made that suggestion, so I'm sorry it's coming up right now. But I want to flesh out things before we approve. Even if later we can make changes, it's easier to get it correct in the beginning. And if she would be willing to serve in that capacity,
Well, I feel like with the progression of things, that would be the first
I think
step
so
is to
too.
come to the auditor if there's a problem with payment or anything.
That's normally our process when we have grant issues anyway. as
Yes.
far as that goes.
And that's in line with what we've been trying to do over the last several years is to get, instead of having things just spread out all over everywhere, get it to specific document. I think that'd be a very good idea.
so can we make that change and then approve the document perhaps with that?
Who made the motion? I did. I could amend my motion to strike, can I see that? Your part?
Sure.
Yeah. To strike having the county attorney representative as the administrative reconsideration officer and change that to our county auditor. At this time would be Jackie Cockerham. Correct?
I actually tried to keep it just as positions.
Just as a
because-
position?
So that we don't
No
have to
name.
go back and change it.
Okay, I'll correct that and it'll just be our county auditor. Do you need a specific name though?
No, it's a position.
Just a position.
Mhm.
Motion.
Yes, we'll
second.
record the position. The position, office, and of course, office information, contact.
We can provide that to you.
We'll provide them with information on the auditor's office contact information.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We can handle that.
Michael, send that after this meeting.
He probably will.
Yes,
Yeah. Make
Should
sure
be
also,
whatever
Kelvin,
it
I'll
is.
send you an email right after court and. then-
yes.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So
Thank
noted.
you.
Thank you, Mike.
We're
Yep,
good to
thank you.
vote then? Okay. Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnik,
Aye.
and Judge Scottiso.
Aye. Motion passes with the changes. All right, item number 6.
Move to approve order number 007-2025 in order to adopt an additional exemption pursuant to Texas Tax Code Section 11.13. I don't know what the N means, wherein an individual could receive an exemption for taxation, a percentage of the appraised value of his or her residence homestead if adopted by the taxing unit by July the 1st, and the percentage adopted does not exceed 5%.
I'll second that.
We've got a motion, a second, and basically this is currently our homestead exemption is offered at 1%. And this is increasing that to 5% to give a little more relief to the homesteads.
I don't think the agenda item actually says that. I think it says not to exceed.
Not to, they can't go above 5%,
I
but
realize that, but should we make a motion to make it a definite, say if we want to make it 5%, shouldn't that be the motion, not?
I would suggest that we do that in
Okay.
a separate item. Just, I mean, for simplicity, it'd be good to do.
Well, we need to do it by July the 1st, so I guess we have time to do that, but
just amend your motion to say to 5% instead of
Okay.
does not exceed.
all right, I would amend my motion to make it 5%.
I'll second that.
All right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So are we the only taxing entity that will approve this? We don't have to send it out to the
No.
city. They do what.
This is on
Okay.
our tax roll.
So in the paperwork, it said everybody around us is at 20. Why are we not going to 20?
20 is kind of a big, so the law allows us to go up to 20%, but that's kind of a big jump.
But then you, and some of the preliminary stuff that I read aren't, is it right that all the counties around us are at 20?
Most of them are. Most of them are, but we're gonna feel it in our budget, but with this 5%, we could go up another 5% next year, another 5%, but I'll let Anna speak to
Well,
what
The
kind of,
judge and I did discuss the 20%, and I think being a smaller county, reminds me, we are smaller than all the counties around us. They have a lot of, like San Pat did go up to 20%. They have all the wind farms. They have their industry over there. We don't have that to soak that up. I think, and I advised him, in my opinion, going up to 20% right off the bat without knowing for sure what that's going to do to us may hurt us in the long run, where if you go up to 5%, you can always go up, but if you go up to 20%, you can't take that back. There, I mean, that's just not something that you should do. So going up to 5%, and I did talk to Ray this morning, the intern, chief appraiser. They were trying to run numbers for us all weekend. With the software, it's not really easy to change your exemptions when they're in the middle of protests. But what we're looking at right today, he said that our taxable value right now is 6.765 billion. Looking at raising that up to 5% would take about 100 million away from us, which is doable, which is And the no new revenue rate will absorb that. So that will take that in consideration to where, when we do get the no new revenue rate, which will look higher than it normally is. But the 5% will still not be as much. And then you can always go up the next year if you want to 10%.
And you were saying basically about the other counties being different, basically because our population tax base is over 80% residential compared to the others being so.
Correct. And they have all the industries, they have the new plants, they have the wind farms, where we don't have all that to back us up. They have all that big income coming in for them.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, makes sense. But it's a step in
Thank
the
you.
right direction.
Yep.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
and Judge Scottleson.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 7.
Discuss and approve a memorandum of understanding with the city of Rockport and Aransas County to place a drop box to assist its residents in the collection of city documents and payments. The city will be responsible for the cost of procuring the drop box and all labor and materials necessary for the installation.
I'll
Second.
second that.
Got a motion and a second. Al.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. This is just basically looks like a mailbox, a large mailbox that's going to be put into the community center parking lot once the county accepts the community building, parking lot and plaza from the contractor.
So
So-
it's just permission to put it there.
Correct.
Okay.
So what is our projected time frame for the substantial completion of the parking lot?
Well, the parking lot is substantially completed, but because it's in a package with the community building and the plaza, they all have to be accepted at the same time.
So when it says the drop box will be installed after the county has received substantial completion of the community center parking lot, what it really means is when we receive final completion for the community center?
Yep, for the building, the plaza.
So that, do we have any idea what that might be
The parking lot is completed.
on the building?
The building has a few things that it's getting finished up, the punch list items. All right. And then the plaza is completed.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just the building. There's a couple of things that I'm doing their punch list items on. And then we added that screen, so they're getting that screen placed in.
Is that the monitor or another, what's the screen?
No, the screen that covers the bay door, because the bay door was getting really
Oh,
hot
yeah.
during the,
Yes. Okay.
so there's just a few items that they're finishing up on that.
Okay, and when the city installs their box, will our box be installed about the same time frame?
I don't believe we're going to move our box until we move into the courthouse.
Okay, my only thought is I know how people are and they don't always read.
Mhm.
So the liability or the possibility that the city payments will go in the counties or that county people will drop their payments into the cities.
The city's
really don't.
mailbox, yeah, the city's mailbox is very, says right on it, City of Rockport everywhere on it. So I realize they probably aren't going to read it or look at it, but
I just think it would be good for possibly the treasurer or the auditor's office to work something out ahead of time with the city for the transfer of any misappropriated items.
The treasurer's office bill, we don't deal with.
I thought I saw.
yeah, and Kimberly Henry's here from the City of Rockport.
Okay, and Lisa's here from the treasurer's office too. So.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's a good idea. I'm not against it at all. I just know human behavior.
Mistakes are gonna happen. She just wants to say, work before the mistakes happen to get it.
This is Kimberly, City of Rockport. And yes, we're willing to work in any direction, and if we need to wait a little longer, whatever is necessary to work it out with the county.
Oh, I don't want you to wait. I just would like for you to figure out some method of notification that's effective.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
and Judge Scottleson.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 8.
I would like to make a motion in that item. I would move to disapprove entering into the interlocal cooperative agreement with the city of Rockport and Aransas Navigation District for the stormwater management drainage solution in and around the harbor area, authorizing the county judge to execute.
So the motion on the floor is to disapprove. Is there a second? All right, motion dies for lack of a second.
I move to approve entering into an interlocal corporation agreement with the city of Rockport and the Aransas County Navigation District for a stormwater management drainage solution in and around the Rockport Harbor area, authorizing the county judge to execute the necessary documents.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Good
Darryl,
morning,
so-
Judge. Good morning, Commissioner.
Morning. So this is not all. So there's some problems. Give us a update on what's going on.
So first of all, this amendment is clarifying details that was in the original interlocal agreement that was approved back in April. It addresses things such as how we select the engineer. It goes into further details about that to help expedite getting the engineer. It also talks a little bit about the responsibility of the engineering contract and construction contracts and ability of parties to use and access another party's cooperative purchasing account to increase the field of potential vendors. So if one entity has a certain method that they could open up, more access to bidders either through the competitive bidding process or maybe even through a buy board situation. And then the last is it's an agreement to support any party securing funding, especially grant funding. If we need letters of support from the county for the NAV district to go after a grant or even for the city of Rockport, vice versa, that everyone's working together on that. I believe this agreement was worked out about the 11th hour last week and officially hasn't made it in front of the NAV district to physically sign, as well as the city of Rockport to physically sign. So I leave it to the commissioners, judgment on whether or not we'd like to have their signatures first, and then we follow through, or whichever direction y'all feel like we need.
Do you know if each entity wants to make any changes?
I've not personally, I was not involved specifically in in working through the amendments. That was our legal department with Tim Tuggy, the NAV district's attorney.
Tim, would you like to speak on?
Yes, Judge, Commissioner. I would urge you to go ahead and approve this with the understanding. Remember, you have an agreement that all three parties have signed. It's in place. That was effective April 14th, with the judges was the third of three signatures. I think there will be some comments back, I'm pretty sure, from the city on this amendment. But I'm understanding from the county engineer that he needs your approval so he can move forward with items 9 and 10. And we're anxious that 9 and 10 get done. I will tell you, I have some comments to the amendment, but they do not relate to the engineering provision. So I don't think there's going to be any changes. And I expect, I cannot speak for the city, that they would have any objection to the engineering piece. There are some other pieces of the amendment that may require some working out as we go along. But if this is what's necessary for him to get 9 and 10 approved, then we're urging y'all, please proceed, because we can always come back on the other stuff as all three entities look at the other items as we go along.
I'm not sure that we can vote on 9 and 10 until the city and the NAV district approve. You're an attorney.
Well, you've got, here's the point. You have an interlocal agreement right now that covers a subset of the engineer. You've approved it already. It already authorizes your engagement of engineers to do 2 items, which are a subset of what's in this document. So as far as I'm concerned, the NAV district is concerned, you already have that authority. What you're doing now by voting in favor of the amendment is not really changing your authority. It exists as far as we're concerned. But if your engineer feels and your lawyer feels that, hey, we want coverage that's our position, fine. We have no problem with that, as long as we understand, and I think everyone does, that the currently existing document is the April 14th document. And I am telling you and representing to you to the best of my judgment that with respect to the engineering provisions of the amendment, I think, and I believe, and I will recommend, I can't guarantee that they will vote for it, but I will recommend to the NAV District Commission that they vote for the engineering provisions as they are proposed here. And I cannot imagine, I mean, I don't want to represent the city, but I cannot imagine that that's piece would be a problem. I think there's some other pieces. I know that both myself and Art Rodriguez, the city attorney, have told your assistant, a county attorney, that we do have some other comments, but they don't relate to the engineering. So I think with the engineering binding provisions you have, you're good. All this does is expand the scope of the engineering provisions.
Yeah.
I
The-
kind of have a
the-
problem with us paying for it if the either other party wants to change something in the process. I mean, we're the ones that are paying for the engineer. That's my understanding of the contract. Neither one of the others are paying anything. So I think I would take offense to them want to nitpick the changes that we want to make in the paperwork.
Well, we would never nitpick them, Commissioner. We would-
Unfortunately, in this agreement, as part of the engineering, we can get all the way through, selecting a study, completing the study through the engineering and actually completing the design, but one party not wanting to do it, they could step out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's gonna be a risk in it, no matter what we do.
Well, and remember, the way this agreement, the currently binding agreement is set up, you have another major decision point coming back to you, where it's a go, no-go decision for all three parties. Once the engineer comes up with their preliminary design and a price, that comes back to you. It's just the proposal. So you're not gonna get, Commissioner, all the way through paying an engineer to do construction documents, et cetera, the downstream price issue, unless it comes back to you and you say, yeah, we want to go the next step. As a practical matter, if you approve this right now, all you're doing really is committing to the design piece of that engineering engagement, because it's going to come back. And then all three parties are going to revisit whether they're ready to go or not, because as Commissioner Vlasic said at your last meeting, the AC&D is looking at potentially and likely either coming up with a grant funding or funding the actual widget that's going to go on the ground to make this work. So they have a big decision coming too, as does the city. So you're not going to be on the hook, in other words, for everything on the engineering unless you decide at that next phase to do so.
The reason that I made the recommendation to disagree or to disallow it was to make sure that we could do the engineer, because nothing goes forward until we get the engineer. The second thing was the timeline that we're trying to get this done is, I don't think we'll ever get it done before hurricane season starts, but to get us through this hurricane season, because like many other projects that we've had, everything has just been delayed. Not our fault, not their fault, just the fault of the issue. You know, I went through the other document that we had here, I guess 2 meetings ago. And, you know, we really went over that quite intensely. And I didn't see a reason for some of the other changes in here. I thought it muddied the waters. So I don't think this document's really necessary. I think we need to hire the engineer and then go on and move to the next step, which this may be the next step. But I agree with Commissioner Castleline, well, with the court as a whole, I think, that I don't want any delays on selecting an engineer, because we don't go to square two until we did square one, and square one's the engineer. And that's the reason why I made the motion not to approve it. And so as long as you certify, or you say that it's not going to affect the engineering, our county engineer says it's not going to affect the engineering, the NAV district and the city agree that it's not going to affect the selection of engineering, I'm all for going along with it. But if not, no.
All our representative, city's representative on the SMTC, all on board. You're going to look at it later. Scoring half an inch is a.
Yeah, that was the other thing too. It was unanimous.
Correct.
You know, and we have on on that committee, we've got people from the city, from the town, from Aransas Pass, from the county, and, the engineering group and everything. It's a really good project.
But Jack,
It's a-
you made the motion to disallow this, would make us go back into the procurement process and not use the committee's recommendation. That's what you
probably
did.
do.
That's
That's
what you
probably
did.
what it do, but that's not what I saw here. I saw this as a new deal.
I was equally confused on this point on Friday, thinking that, and not realizing, as I've now been informed even this morning and from your assistant county attorney, that from your perspective, your staff wants that amendment because it clears the decks in terms of their authority to hire the engineer. And I've told your attorney, for example, I'm fine with the engineering provision. There's some other provisions though that may be problematic, will be subject to comment, et cetera. So
I just don't want to slow
getting the
down.
engineer done is numero uno, and your deadline, our mutual deadline for your engagement under the current document is June 13th. With your approval today, you're on time and we're rocking and rolling. So
I'm sorry, Jack, Miss Judy, did y'all want to speak now?
Yes. I'll have to move that down a little bit. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm Judy Velasic, and I'm at 225 Port Royal in City by the Sea, and I represent Precinct 1A of for the Aransas County Navigation District. This project that we're discussing, that's the item for all these next three items, it's been a subject of discussions between the ACND and the city for many years. I looked this morning at my first email on this project and it was dated November 2021. So that tells you, and I know the discussions were started way before that. I really encourage you, whatever is necessary to move forward with the engineering portion of it. And I really support Mr. Tuggy's observations and comments. And I think based on discussions, I'm quite sure that the rest of the commissioners will feel the same way, although I can't guarantee it. It's not a perfect agreement, and we obviously will have some tweaking to do, but we do need to move forward with this. I mean, it's way past time for us to get going on something like this, and I feel that the city will feel the same way, but I'm not going to try to speak for them. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Wright?
Jack Wright, 418 Cherry Hills. You're still short, Judy. My only comment was actually changed from last night to this morning. I thought that we needed to move item number 8 to the other side of 9 and 10. That's the way I read this agreement. Based upon comments with Mr. Tuggy, all of y'all, as it was a little bit early on, I no longer have that issue. If 8 needs to come before 9 and 10, I'm fine with it. What we want you to hear from us, Judy's already spoken to it, is that we want maximum cooperation on getting this done yesterday. And to that extent, we bring that promise to stay out of the way on the really, really important stuff. So that's how we look at it. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Jack. All right. So the vote on the floor is for this amendment.
Daryl, did you have anything you would
Yeah.
like to add?
One of the main items on this amendment is that it kind of clarified how the process that we, approached getting an RFQ. We, instead of going out for one specifically for the project where we spend 6 to 8 weeks advertising, getting them in, scoring them, and probably still doing presentations, we used our general engineering pool that we already had put together. And so it saved quite a bit of time in order to meet these deadlines. So that's just an example of one of the amendments. It just kind of clarified that.
Well, with the explanations that come from the citizens and from the staff and everything, I see what we're looking at. I just had a real problem with having to wait on the engineer. That was the issue.
Okay. If we pass this and I sign it today and the city and the NAV have problems and want to change it, just bring it back before the court.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Gutsa.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 9.
Move to approve the Stormwater Management Technical Committee's recommendation to select HAF for professional engineering services associated with the Concho Stormwater Drainage Project.
I'll
Second.
second that.
Got a motion and a second.
So we utilized, going back, we utilized our general engineering pool. There were 11 RFQs from different firms in there that we all scored. We narrowed them down to three finalists, and we received presentations, and Half Engineers was the highest scoring group. It also helps, this process helps us meet our 60-day time period on getting someone on board.
I was just very pleased to see that we had a representative from
From
each
each-
entity
Yes, ma'am.
that
It was.
serves on the stormwater management,
ma'am.
and Francis Pass has done a great job of stepping up and making the meetings and the commitment.
Absolutely.
And everybody did choose half as a
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
top.
Everyone did.
It was unanimous.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Gutsa.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 10.
Move to approve hiring resolution R 23-2025 for Al Engineering for the Concho Stormwater Quality Project. I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second.
And this is one of the final steps of moving forward with that selection.
Any questions? All right.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
and Judge Gutsa.
Aye, motion passes. And I'm sorry, but we've got to take a small break.
Her to think like.
Oh, no.
She's done.
That's, it is 9:56. We are back in session.
Vote to approve the Aransas County Indigent Healthcare Report for May 2025.
Second that.
Got a motion and a second. Miss Lisa with the treasurer's, oh, okay. Miss Sarita with the treasurer's office.
Sarita
Morning.
Lockwood, 230 Sunset Drive. We had a couple of hospital stays that you can see the inpatient hospital amount was a little bit more, but as of our budget we are about, 9 months into the fiscal, our fiscal year. So we are just at 17% of our budget. So we're not doing too bad. We're actually doing really good. And that's due to the fact that we are a non-hospital district. We have to travel 30 plus miles to a hospital. So, we did receive some reimbursements. I had a client in indigent healthcare that actually was awarded her disability. So I was able to go back to the state to Medicaid, and they did reimburse us a little over $2,000. So I
Great.
think we're doing good there. Do you have any questions for me?
No, thank you for going after that reimbursement.
Yes, sir.
That's great.
Anytime that my clients are awarded their SSI with Medicaid, I can go back to Medicaid and ask them to reimburse us. They don't match dollar for dollar. There are things that they won't give us back on, but I do go after them every time that we're able to. So every client that is awarded, I do go back to the state of Texas and ask them for reimbursement.
That's good. Thank you, Sarita.
Thank you for the explanation, Sarita.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cheney, Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
and Judge Gutsa.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 12.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So the court manager is nearing the end of her steps on her group. So rather than change the current job description, I suggested creating a new job description at a higher group. It's the same that I suggested for JP1 last year, and the positions won't be filled at the same time. So this is just to give her room to grow.
On the new job description, under some of the essential duties that are added to oversee daily office activities, including but not limited to employee training, delegation of tasks, and processing of employee forms. How many employees are in this office?
I believe 3, because they have the court reporter, and then they have John, which is the bailiff.
The gentleman who sits out. in
Yes,
front.
ma'am.
But employee training, I don't think it's just limited to employees in that office. It would be like my staff too. If there's something that, because I do magistration. So if there are questions, they go to Jennifer for answers.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cheney, Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
and Judge Gutsa.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 13.
I move to approve a 2-step increase for the court manager after completing this certified court management program.
Got a motion and a second.
I have a concern. Did you want to say something first, Judge Bianchi?
I'd like to say good morning, Commissioners and Judge.
Good morning, Judge
Morning,
Bianchi.
Judge.
Well, I can tell you what this is about. You know, occasionally we have an outstanding employee that continues to grow and get additional training and make themselves a better person for the county and the community. And that's what we have here. And the job description that you just approved is a recognition of that need, but it also in the job description requires that they be they have a degree in paralegal and they be a certified court manager. Those two requirements are not in the existing description. So this new position, if you will, has a restricted requirements, and that's in the future. And we won't ever fulfill both of those jobs at the same time. One, if we're so unfortunate as to someday lose this excellent employee we have now, the new person coming in would not be in the higher grade level unless they meet those requirements.
Right. And I understand that, and thank you for explaining it. My concern is that the employee began working on this certificate last year. At least that appears to be the case from the certificates
Right.
that were attached, because apparently there are 5 stages that the person goes through, or 5 courses.
You're correct.
To finish off the entire certification process. So she had completed one in April of 2024, one in May of 2024. Then the last 3, August, October, and November. All of that is commendable, and I think that is marvelous, and I like it when our employees are moving up and increasing their knowledge. I wish that this had been brought to us when we were doing our 2025 budget, the change and the anticipation that most likely this person was going to achieve her certificate this year, and we would have built this into the budget instead of it's coming to us midway through the current budget year, and it's going to have an impact on this year's budget rather than we would have prepared for it.
Well, number one is I didn't want to do that until she completed the certificate program for the certified court manager. But secondly, the impact on the budget is going to be absolutely minimal for the rest of this year in this budget. And though we didn't provide for it in her current job description category, it amounts to only $1,375, something like that, for the rest of the year, which will not wind up being outside my overall budget for the year.
Your overall salary budget?
Correct.
Can you verify?
Comment, I did calculate though with the benefits included into that, it does come out to just at $2,000 would be the impact for
But
this
is that
year.
within this year's salary budget? Salary and benefits budget?
Yes and no. I don't know if you wanted to add to that, Judge.
Go ahead.
So, yes, initially it does. It will impact that. However, because of the attrition with the bailiff salary, we charge a lot of the bailiff salary to whichever court he does work
Okay.
in, or into the sheriff's office, depending on what his duties are for each day. So there is attrition that will cover it. It will not go over the salary budget.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for that explanation.
That's my main question, was how we were gonna end up in the budget. It was going over our allotted dollars, but we're not.
Thank you. And congratulations to Jennifer for accomplishing that.
Makes me a better judge.
I don't know if we can handle that.
Thank you. Questions?
You have a question? All right.
Commissioner Cheney, Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Gutsa.
Aye, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Item number 14.
I move to approve the updated Aransas County Hazard Communication Policy.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second, Ms. Upton.
Good morning again. So we had our risk management consultant come down in January. He did a risk assessment with myself, the judge, Jackie, Tana, and I believe that was everybody that attended. So he just went over our different risks and suggested different safety policies that we should incorporate. We did have a HAZCOM policy, but I could not locate it whenever he requested it. So rather than keep searching for it, I just utilized the one that he provided. So it's just an updated version of what we already had.
It's an updated version of what we already had, or it's an updated policy to replace what we had.
To replace what we had,
Okay.
but we had one from them previously. I just couldn't locate it.
And this may seem small, but on the first page under 1.2, it's talking about the original documents that will be used to protect personnel. And it says each commissioner precinct and each county office not located in the courthouse. We do not have commissioner precinct officers.
Okay.
That was just stated over and over again to my awareness when I was at that conference last week, and people said, oh, get your chief of staff to handle this, or do this in your offices. I don't have a chief of staff and I don't have an office. It's a small thing, but I think by stating that, we are saying that we have commissioner precinct offices, and I would like to have just that struck, so it says each county office not located in the courthouse. If we ever have commissioner offices, they could fall under that, but I think to say that is a misstatement.
Okay, I can remove that.
Okay.
I'm making a note.
And then, on page 4, under 7.1, it's the responsibility of the official in charge of project to provide other personnel or outside contractors with the following information. And I might have missed it, but who is going to confirm compliance with this policy?
Myself, and if people have questions, they'll get with Renee as far as what needs to be in their
Okay.
books.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Cheney, Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Gottesall.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 15.
Move to approve the updates to the Aransas County Employee Handbook.
So we've got a motion, and a second. I'm sorry. This is
I would like to say, under the discussion, I had business with the judge about possibly tabling this. I did not have time to go through these since I was in Corpus Christi a week. I know we didn't get the packet until Friday, but I'm working on the RFQs for the airport
Airport.
engineering, so I would like it if we could table this. It's quite a stack. I commend Desiree because she is trying to help us win a safety achievement award, and I think
Yes.
that's a great thing for the county to do.
Thank you.
I think we won one back in 2013 or 2014, but it's been a long time. So if possible, could you?
Okay, I understand. And then also, there are other policies I would like to update in the future. This was just for compliance and safety.
And I'm thinking after we have our insurance
Yes, ma'am.
workshop on Friday, we may amend another policy or two.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there a deadline on this?
No,
or-
there's not. It was just something I've been working on for a few months and wanted to get it
But we can
approved.
put on next month,
Yep.
next court.
Sounds good. So, the item is tabled. That's the motion on the floor.
Commissioner Cheney, Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
and Judge Gottesall.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 16.
Move to approve the Aransas County official holiday schedule for 2026.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Do you have any questions on any of the dates?
So are all of the holidays on there, are they also federal holidays? Are there any that aren't federal holidays?
I don't believe there are any that aren't federal holidays, but I'd have to double check to be sure.
They're off.
Juneteenth isn't a federal holiday, correct?
Yes,
It is a federal holiday?
It is.
Okay.
Commissioner Casterline, I'm sorry, Commissioner Cheney, Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
and Judge Gottesall.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 17.
Move to approve the proposed Aransas County Transfer Station official holiday schedule for 2026.
Second.
So these are the same holidays. We just have to move the dates around since they're closed on Mondays.
Commissioner Cheney, Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
and Judge Gottesall.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 18.
Move to approve the May 2025 Auditor's Monthly Report.
If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Actually, everything looks really good right now. I have added a couple of additional charts, not only the general fund sales tax, but also the healthcare sales tax charts. I did add some debt service charts in here too, just for your information. So if there's anything that you have any questions on, I'd surely be happy to answer them.
Thank you for the charts.
I'm probably missing something, Jackie. But did we get two sets of the yearly sales tax?
No, that one of them is for general fund and the other one is for healthcare sales tax. They're almost exactly the same, but there is a little bit of difference on them. And they're two different payments, two different charts.
Okay, could I ask next time we get them that it could say general fund and healthcare? Because if it says that, I'm missing it. And if you point it out to me, then I'll
Well.
leave you alone.
Actually, at the very top, it says, general obligation. Oh, yeah, that's it.
Are we looking at the bar graph?
Yes. If you look at the very top of the first page of it, and then, well, it doesn't tell you.
it doesn't.
Well, it does, right, if you look at right underneath it, right at the bottom where it says download Excel, right above the table, it'll tell you that one of them is for the healthcare service and one of them is for, both of them.
I don't think we.
Never
have
mind,
that on here.
I see what it's doing. It's printing the tab labels. I will definitely fix that.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner
Yeah.
Cheney. Go ahead, ma'am.
The other thing, and this may not be a question for the auditor, it might just, maybe sheriff or somebody knows, but under JP1, the county fee collections for the year are down significantly from the previous year to date. I just wondered why that might be, if anybody has. Oh, okay. Congratulations.
Explanation, we would have to look at that number, but off the top of my head, and say it's
License
to,
and weight. Yeah.
the, license and weight. So license
And
weight scales.
the DOT won't let us open the scales
Right.
without them being there to turn on the lights and stuff. And
Yeah.
to me, that's the biggest difference that we have.
Right.
So our license and weight guys cannot,
They
Turn-
can't operate out there unless the DPS is there with them.
To turn on the light.
State legislation changed that several
Like
years
everything.
ago,
I think they
for
have. to
whatever
be-
reason.
I know they have to turn the lights on, and do they have to be present also?
It's,
We have Michael here. He can-
come on, Michael.
Good morning.
Morning.
So they cannot turn on the light for the vehicles, commercial vehicles to pull in. Only a DPS trooper can do that. They can make traffic stops, they can pull over a truck and weigh them, but they can't sit in the scale house and have vehicles pull in on their own without that light being on, and a DPS trooper has to do that.
okay. Thank you.
Hopefully, we will get a trooper assigned to this area pretty soon. I believe there's supposed to be a subject taking the last trooper's spot coming up soon, hopefully. Yeah, that they have one that, we had one that left and he went to work on the boat, so we have an opening. So hopefully there'll be one that comes in pretty soon. We have one that comes,
Commissioner Cheney, your mic's off.
I did have a Attorney General's opinion that the sheriff asked me to send in 2 years ago, I believe. And at that point was asking if we could do it, if we would be allowed to do it. And at that time, even with the Attorney General's opinion, it was no. They would have to
Other
have.
counties have the same issue. I wondered if anybody.
There are
else
certain
tried to get some
stipulations that-
legislation that would change that.
That's to the population, doesn't it?
there's population, the ports, the border, and we don't fall in any of those, so it doesn't apply to us. We have to have a trooper. That's the only way we can turn the light on.
And that was changed
Uh,
from years
it-
ago.
It's been changed several years ago, and there's been plenty of departments that have brought it up, but they're
doesn't
not gonna
change
change it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo.
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick.
Aye.
Judge Goddison.
All right, motion passes. Item number 19.
Move to approve the budget line item.
I'll second that.
Got a motion second?
We have none at this time.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline, Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick.
Aye.
Judge Goddison.
All right. Item number 20.
Move to approve accounts payroll liability.
I'll second that.
You have the normal payroll liabilities, as well as accounts payable. There are a couple of things that I would like to bring out to commissioners. We have April invoices for our outside attorneys that total $35,885.17. And in our capital projects fund, we have Mont McDonald for Cedar Bayou, which we are almost finished with. I think we've got one report we're waiting for and it'll be completely done. And if that invoice was $676.
Oh, hooray. I thought you were gonna say 676,000.
Oh, no, we only have like maybe $1,000 or a couple $1,000 left to even.
Is that Mont McDonald or?
Yes, ma'am. Then we have, for the Copano Cove Ranch acquisition, the appraisal company, we, had a $12,500 check for them. And H2O, who did our hazard mitigation plan, action plan, of $27,384.50. And as I reported, we're waiting for a couple of entities to adopt it so that they can get those resolutions in the plan and we can get the final product to FEMA and get that signed off on, and then we will be complete with that.
Is the payment in there for the concrete people that did the job at Road and Bridge? You asked me about it.
I'm not sure who did it.
I think it was Long Wind.
I'd have to
did the
look
Project. and-
right after.
And done sometime and mentioned that he hadn't got paid for it yet.
Maybe Salazar? Is it Salazar
Salazar.
Concrete?
Let me look and see. It doesn't, I mean, I've signed all of them and looked at them, and I try to bring out the ones that are.
Is Daryl still here?
No.
It does not sound familiar. I will check on it, Bubba, but I don't see.
I would like to move that
don't
if it's
see-
appropriate to pay them, that we add that to the list.
I'll second
For our
that.
next meeting,
Okay.
because my understanding the work's all done, has been for a while.
We haven't seen an invoice, so.
Okay.
As, I will say that, Sue left and she was great. Laura has been on top of it and make sure that everything gets put in. So if we had the invoice, it would definitely have been taken care of. I will get with Daryl and see what we've got. And it was at Road and Bridge that he did the
Yes,
concrete?
It's in
work?
the fleet,
Oh, well, okay.
something to do with their lift. They
Okay,
upgraded the
I'll
foundation
check
for
with
the lift.
Blake. Thank you.
Need to vote on that?
Yes.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes.
And just to clarify, so what we voted on was what was presented and what Commissioner Casterline suggested also about Salazar. Gets me good.
Concrete.
Thank you.
All right, this time we hear reports from commissioners, elected officials, and department heads. No action will be taken. Any of y'all got anything? Anna?
What was the highlight of the conference, since I didn't get the chance to go?
The gentleman from the Nueces River Authority, John Byram.
Uh-huh.
And I think it would be very good, and I spoke with him after he talked about the desal plan and other water options that we might have for our community and the South Texas Coastal Bend area. And he said he would be very glad to come over here and give a presentation. And if we could schedule one, maybe, and invite the NAV district, the city, the school, and, citizens, of course,
Right.
maybe in late afternoon or evening when we could be sure we'd have better attendance,
Well,
because we really need to look at the water.
wish I'd been there for that, because that is ideal. It's a wonderful idea.
Well, I'd like to see him come too, because I left after listening to it. I left with the thought that it sounded to me like there might not be any of that water used here locally. Maybe to the port or the industries, but they were talking about water from here going to Kerrville and places like that. I left there with that opinion that I was concerned that the water would not be used in this area.
Well-
Or at least some of it.
Well, if it's less water they're using, it's water that we have from where we
Well-
get it currently.
But I went up and talked to him, and you're absolutely right. But I went up and talked to him after he finished his presentation, and I explained, which he was well aware of, we get our water from San Patricio's Water District, they get it from Corpus Christi. So is Corpus Christi talking to the Nueces River Authority about getting water from them? And he said, absolutely not, and they won. The Nueces River Authority wants Corpus Christi to be one of their customers, but Corpus Christi is going out and soliciting more industry and commerce with the promise that they have plenty of water. So I think we need to know about that and maybe apply suggestions or pressure to Corpus Christi to start talking with Nueces River Authority.
Since property belongs to the port, that industry that is on port property would probably get water from.
But he would love to sell it also.
Yeah, I already say.
Yeah. So, and
Yeah,
we can ask him those questions too, but
Absolutely. And if
I
y'all
think
are
that's a good
interested,
idea.
next week, there's a water, what did I send you? A
Water Summit.
a water summit in Portland next week. If you're interested, email me. I'll send you the notice. I don't know if you have to sign. I don't think there's a cost. Was there a
Oh,
cost?
I don't think there's a cost, but you have to fill out a registration online, but it's Monday and Tuesday and then half of Wednesday at
Now
the,
we having budget. We're doing
Workshop
Monday.
Monday.
we do,
Tuesday.
but I mean, there are other
You'll-
people
you'll
who
see.
might.
Yeah, if y'all are interested, email me. I'll send you the notice.
Definitely
Uh,
interested.
Any other elected officials that got anything?
I'd like to, Tracy. I'd like to get that, notes to that meeting in Portland also.
Okay, I'll send it to you. Remind me.
Tracy,
figure-
remind the
Remind me,
judge.
Tracy. I'll
Send it to
forget.
everybody.
I'll
Yeah.
forget here in a little bit. We'll move on to reports about items of community interest. No action will be taken. I got anything? Mike, you got anything for the airport? No?
Well,
All right.
Renee's not here. I know Tracy, I believe, put flyers in boxes about the kayaks at sunset. Do you have that information? Would you like to talk? On the microphone? Because I don't remember the details. I thought maybe you did. It's part of the Pathways project.
Okay, I don't remember the details fully. But they're encouraging people to come out to a spot. I don't even know. if it-
At Howard Murphy.
Yeah,
Well, no, they're gonna launch kayaks and I think
Right.
around 6 and
and they
I
have
think it's on
some,
the 21st.
on the 21st.
yeah, I think they're going to have a little bit of food and
See.
just to be a chance for people to get together.
Kayaks at sunset. It's on the,
Kayaks at
on
sunset.
the Aransas Pathways site. You can get the
Right.
information about it.
Yeah. And it's also, yeah, we all got flyers and then I also sent interoffice memo and then it's going to go on Facebook as well.
Okay.
So. Okay, sorry, I wasn't, yeah.
That's
Sorry,
okay. I
I-
kind of called on you unawares.
Yeah. Alrighty. You know, I did want to share with y'all. I shared with Desiree this morning. So I'm on this obsession with climbing Mount Everest. I've been watching all the videos and I'm like, man, I want to do it. I want to do it. And
You're nuts.
right, right. You know, first of all, I can't afford it unless I win the lottery. And second of all, man, I mowed the lawn and then I was laid out. I was like, yeah, Everest's gonna have to wait for a very long time. Forever.
Don't tell me, you weren't using a riding lawnmower, were you?
Little reality, no.
Okay.
I do have something, Judge.
Okay.
I was asked to speak or be a part of a panel at the
Yeah.
Texas Division of Emergency Management Conference. And it was awesome. It was an awesome conference. I would encourage anyone who has a chance. They're great. And it was a fun and eye-opening experience. I was on the panel as the small county who, had debris double the amount of their annual budget. And so kind of just given a overview of how we handled that and stuff. And it was a great experience, but it's a really good conference.
Well, and congratulations for
Yeah.
being selected to speak.
I wish I could have been there. Yeah. All right.
Boo, boo.
So our attorney's not here to go into closed session, but I do have an item in here that doesn't require an attorney. So I'm gonna make the motion to convene into a closed session. Ooh,
Yeah, you read it.
yeah, I know. I was
You want me
like,
to read it?
well, I can't say that first one because we're not going to
No, but
receive
the
legal
second-
advice. The second one is, under Texas Government Code, also known as Texas Open Meeting Act, authorizes closed session meetings to allow for a government body to conduct a closed meeting to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. If deliberation in an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the position of the governmental body in negotiations with a third person. And we are going to discuss the purchase of a 12-unit T hanger.
Second?
Okay.
Commissioner,
Motion second.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Goddison.
Aye. Motion passes, and give us 5 minutes and we're gonna go into the session. right. It is 10:40. We are back in open session. Do we need to take a vote to go in open session?
Yeah. I
Okay.
move we adjourn, or I move we reconvene into open session.
Got a motion second?
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Commissioner Judge Gutsa.
Aye, motion passes. And a little bit of housekeeping. We didn't take any action on item 1. They never showed up. And so I'm gonna go and strike that
Permanently,
permanently.
because we've
hopefully.
already
We already
accepted their
accepted
proclamation.
it, yeah.
Okay.
But I'll strike it from this month's agenda, this meeting's agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Gutsa.
Aye, motion passes and we are adjourned.
Here for those gentlemen.